While most of the damage was to the south of us, San Antonio first responders and city leaders set up a major command center to manage first responders and monitor Harvey.
Eyewitness News reporter Phil Anaya is here with more from the Emergency Operations Center. Phil.
Well, Jeff and Sarah, the Emergency Operations Center is a way for city and county departments to coordinate their efforts when responding to a major disaster like this, because as you can imagine, it can be very chaotic. It's been all hands on deck at the San Antonio Emergency Operations Center, coordinating everything from safety and damage in our own backyard to welcoming evacuees from throughout South Texas. Late tonight, Mayor Ron Nirenberg sent this tweet from a shelter saying, "Compassion is a universal language. Our priority is safety of all. No one seeking shelter has been nor will be turned away. Hashtag compassionate SA."
While it may not be raining from moment to moment or the winds may die down for a minute, do not let your guard down.
On a statewide level, the amount of communities added to the state disaster declaration continues to grow, including Bexar County.
I have issued a disaster declaration that originally included 30 counties, and this is a state disaster declaration, and we have now added 20 more counties.
So far, the San Antonio area has not suffered any major damage. About 60 trees have been knocked down, but aside from that and power outages, there's really only one thing that's been overwhelming: the generosity of San Antonians looking to volunteer and help out.
But mostly, we've been seeing an influx on volunteerism in the city of San Antonio, which is fantastic. That just shows that people want to help here in San Antonio.
And anyone looking to volunteer or report any damage around town can call 311. As far as donations go, this too is a coordinated effort, and right now the San Antonio Food Bank is the only donation intake center. They are accepting food, new clothing, diapers, pet food, and other supplies. Donations can be dropped off at the food bank warehouse from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. tomorrow. Bill?
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, outside in San Antonio tonight, a cloudy sky, a light rain falling, but heavy rain has spared the city thus far. We still have several days of rain chances and a flash flood watch in effect. Right now, 74. A light rain falling at the airport, but just east of the airport, a little bit heavier rain right now. North-northwest wind is still breezy, 24 miles per hour outside in San Antonio. So it's only about 60 miles to our east that a strong tropical storm still does exist. Harvey's center of circulation lifting out of DeWitt County and moving into Gonzales County. It's only moving at 1 mile per hour right now, but it's expected to still go stationary any moment now. It was stationary earlier, but then it's just been on this light jog most of the evening, centered between pretty much DeWitt, Lavaca, and Gonzales County. The problem is how long it's going to stay right here and continue to use the Gulf of Mexico as a moisture source. The good news is just the opposite of moisture, a dry air slot working in on the southern reach of the system, and it's moving in and really drying things out for Pleasanton, Cuero, even Victoria, where we had Paul Morales live just a few moments ago. But that spiral action is still very impressive. This area of low pressure, that's essentially what all these systems are, is still very well structured. So here it sits about 40 miles northwest of Victoria, or give or take 50 to 60 miles east of the city. We've got a progress, but barely, east-northeast at 1 mile per hour. Sustained winds are still reaching upwards of 50 miles per hour on this system. Forecast hasn't changed much on where this moves next. By tomorrow morning, we're expecting that light jog to the south, and then as we get into tomorrow night, 7 p.m., it's a little bit closer to the coast. Into Monday morning, it starts to get a little bit even closer to, say, Rockport and some spots like Port Aransas. Now, here's the thing. It's going to be weakening this entire time, but it's only going to be moving a total of about 40, maybe 50 miles in 24 hours. So as long as it's a well-structured area of low pressure, it'll continue to be a solid rainmaker and get some pretty impressive rainfall totals before it finally exits. And speaking of which, look at this, due north and just out to the east of Austin as we work our way into next week, Tuesday, Wednesday timeframe. There's that dry slot on water vapor. You can really see it coming in from west to east, and that's good because, again, it's starting to dry things out just a little bit. Heavier Lighter rain pockets to the east, but we've got some showers in San Antonio. Very, very light. Heavier rain is now Hallettsville over to Garwood and wrapping around the storm center. So it's up around Austin now and southeast of there that we're getting very, very heavy tropical rains. Nothing severe. Haven't seen any tornadic activity, but we continue to pile up the water. Some of the bullseyes down to Rockport for about a foot of rain. And then look here off to our east, Gonzales and even closer to Seguin, we're over 7 inches right now. And then if you move up closer to Giddings and near Brenham, these rainfall totals are getting off the charts. We're upwards of 15 to 16 inches of rain. Right now, 16.4. There's Giddings right there. And we're just outside of Austin. These kind of rainfall totals, no surprise to the United States with tropical systems. Jeremy Baker with Team Weather on that. Jeremy?
Yeah, Bill, right behind me you have the top 10 U.S. tropical rainfall events in history. Some of these names you might recognize, such as Allison back in 2001, Camille, a historical hurricane back in 1969. What it comes down to is something called precipitable water, which is how much moisture is available in the atmosphere from the top all the way to the bottom, which kind of collects and allows these storms to become so rich and full of moisture. Now with Harvey, there was so much precipitable water in Corpus Christi, the second highest amount of that since the 1960s. So that's why there's so much moisture around with Harvey. Now, how much moisture does Harvey need to become in the top 10 list here? 5 of these happened in Texas. Coming up a little later in the newscast, I'll tell you which 5 those were and whether or not Harvey has a chance of making that list. Bill?
All right, Jeremy, we hope not. We don't want him to make top 10, but now you get an idea of just how easily this could happen. Because again, we're at 16.5 now. How much more water do we add to it? Well, the newest rainfall estimate forecast keeps the highest totals now east of New Braunfels and north of Gonzales because of that dry slot. It's really expected to keep these areas a little drier in the next 24 to even 48 hours, 10 p.m. Monday night, and we're still looking at about 3 inches at the most for eastern Bexar County. But if this happens, we're looking at huge river flooding numbers. Look at this. San Antonio River at Runge expected to go 42.5 feet. A lot of rivers to our southeast are going to experience major flooding as we get to Tuesday and Wednesday when they finally crest. All right, 7-day forecast, 80% chance of rain on Sunday. We're still looking 60% for the first day of school Monday. It could be delaying a few things. We'll watch Tuesday, 40%, even Wednesday, a 40% chance of rain before this system finally moves out to the north. I think we start turning the corner and drop rain chances as we get to Thursday and Friday, and we'll even return to the lower 90s. Sarah?
All right, thanks, Bill. Well, the storm is taking a toll on those traveling by air. Eyewitness News reporter Addie Guajardo was at the San Antonio International Airport with the latest on canceled flights.
A lot of flights have been canceled. At least 62 flights out of here in San Antonio, and another 39 are expected to be canceled for tomorrow. I'm joined here by Jose Ramirez, who came in from San Francisco, and he's telling us it was a scary ride. Tell us a little bit about that, Jose.
It was the pilot was trying to land, and the pilot announces it's going to be a bumpy ride. So we're getting closer to land. We're getting closer to the buildings, and then the plane started going like sideways. The pilot, he trying to stabilize the plane, so he finally did it. By the time it was landing, the plane was landing really hard when it hit the land strip. Yeah, and then that's kind of scary ride because I thought I was going to hit the buildings.
All right, well, thank you so much. And I'm also joined here by Juan Ramirez, who was going to a funeral, his brother's funeral, as a matter of fact, but he is no longer able to catch that flight. Tell us a little bit about that, Juan.
Well, I've been here since 2 o'clock. My plane got canceled, and I'm trying to see when I can get there because the visitation is to be on Sunday afternoon at 6 o'clock, and then the actual funeral is going to be taking place on Monday morning. So I'm trying to get there tomorrow so I can be there for Monday. Yeah, it's unfortunately I need to be there. Hopefully, God willing, I will be there.
Now, the airport is also advising everyone to make sure you check in with your individual airlines to see if there's any cancellations or delays before arriving to the airport. Addie Guajardo, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.